Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a video on flawless base. Every makeup artist or beginner is going to have their own definition of what flawless means and a flawless skincare base. So for me personally, my skincare needs are dark circles, large pores, hyperpigmentation. If I'm sick and flaring with my autoimmune disease, then it is dullness. So depending on the season, right now we're still in winter where I live, and it's still cold. So I have dry skin, and with the winter months, it's extremely dry. So for me, right here is the biggest dry patch of my life. I have very large pores right here on my chin, very large pores in my cheeks right here, and my face is gonna get red as the sun. So for me, that is what I'm focusing on. Contrary to what many YouTubers will have you believe, a flawless base does not come from the products you use. It starts with your skincare. It starts with your skin. So a foundation that works for me may not work for you. I have extremely dry skin. My skin needs may be different than yours. This video is simply what works for me. You're more than welcome to try it, and that's why I'm making this video, is to share my technique and my flawless base that I do. And for me, that starts with my skin. Now, I wash my face, I take a shower at night, and that's because I do not get in my bed dirty. I always take a shower. I never have makeup. I don't fall asleep with makeup. I wash my face at night. No glitter, no oils, nothing that can get in my sheets or on my pillowcase that will potentially irritate my skin. And I wash my bed about once a week, and I strip the bed completely, including pillowcases, any blankets, anything. So for me, that is when I take a shower and I do a full skincare routine. I actually have a skincare routine video up on my channel if you're interested. So my moisturizer that I currently am using is the Origins A Perfect World SPF 25. This is very well loved and almost to the end. I've pretty much hit pan on this, so if I stick my finger in it, you can see that I am very much at the end of its life, and it's been well loved, and it is currently my favorite moisturizer. My number two would be probably the Lush Celestial, and I liked that moisturizer. It really sunk into my skin, but this one is the only one that I've ever used that actually helps mend this dry patch right here. So this is my favorite moisturizer. So along with moisturizer, the other thing that I've been really into lately is a serum, which when I was younger and in college, I never used any kind of toner or serum. I was using bad products, and then I could feel the oiliness and the slickness on my skin, and it would never actually sink into my skin. So I was really deterred from serums at a younger age. But now that I've gotten older and used more products and done more research, I know that I was just using shit products. Hyram on YouTube, I've been watching a lot lately. And some of my skincare products don't fit his criteria, which is totally okay. But something that I've been really interested in is retinol. And particularly, he talks about this, about how he had really bad wrinkles. And when I clench my face, you can see it a lot in my photos, I will get those 3 little wrinkles. And I've noticed in my videos recently when I'm editing and I talk with my eyebrows a lot, that my wrinkles are not as bad right here. And I think that's because I've been using this Luna oil from Sunday Riley, and this has a lot of essential oils in it, and I don't like the scent. But I put a dab, and I rub it into my dry spot right here where I get wrinkles, down here into my lip lines where I get wrinkles right here. And this has really just evened out my skin and made it very clear. So I use this at night after I moisturize. And the next skincare product that I try my best to use, but I will admit I'm really bad at it, is eye cream. So I started with this Tatcha hydration one. It's the Luminous Deep Hydration Firming Eye Serum. And I use this because Jeffree Star used it. And I didn't think about how my skin would relate to his. But I have very, very dark circles. I've had them my whole life. Even in my childhood photos of me being like 2, I'm pale-faced and just dark circles. So an eye cream is essential for me. I've tried using moisturizer and it just doesn't work. I need that extra moisture underneath my eyes. They're very, very dry and I have a very thin, obviously your eye is very thin skin anyways, but I have very bad dark circles. So this I've been loving. Me being me, I accidentally opened another one when I couldn't find it. So I opened the Tatcha Silk Peony Melting Eye Cream. And this one is in a jar, which I like better because this one I squirt out. I don't squirt it directly in my face anymore. I squirt a little bit out, take it on my finger and dab it. And I have noticed tremendous results when I actually do my skincare routine how I'm supposed to and use an eye cream at night. Life-changing. If I use a product like this for 3 weeks, 2 weeks consecutively, I can notice my dark circles vanish. It is incredible. And doing my skincare last year and this year continuing has changed my skin for the better. So for me personally, with dry skin, that is the basis. I have to do that before I go to bed. Otherwise, I'm going to wake up and look like a hot mess with dry skin. My foundation's going to clench in spots that I don't want it to. And it's not a good look. It's not. Going into winter, this First Aid Beauty has been my go-to moisturizer for my makeup. So this one, even though it has SPF, I apply at night because it really moisturizes my skin. And the First Aid Beauty Intense Hydration for Dry, Parched Skin, Safe for Sensitive Skin is the one that I use before I do my makeup because this really sinks into your skin. But for this video, I am not using this one. That is more of a day-to-day. This video, I want to strictly focus on this one technique, this one look for a flawless makeup look. And for me, this is the look that I wear to work and I get tremendous compliments. I've just started doing this last week and holy cow, it lasts all day. I look flawless when I get home. I've gone to dinner after work and it still looks flawless till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And the moisturizer I will be using for this look is the Glam Glow Glow Start. This is a sample and it is in Nude Glow. This is an illuminating moisturizer, and for me, with it being super, super harsh winter, this is what I need to get my skin through the day. So I start my routine by applying the tiniest bit of this, focusing it on my dry patches, and then blending it out. So I'm going to start by taking a pea-sized amount. I dot it where I need it, and then very gently using the tips of my fingers, I'm going to rub this out, starting in the areas that I need it the most, and then using whatever product is left on the tips of my fingers to blend it out. So I'm going to start with that first, and next I'm going to go to my eyebrows to allow my skin to soak up that moisturizer. So, if I was at home doing this routine, I would take my Tweezermans and just fix any brow hairs that don't belong. But I've been doing this pretty regularly this week, so I don't really have that many. But I'd start down here and pluck any eyebrow hairs that need to be plucked. Then I would go into my actual brow routine, which for me right now, I'm using a Jeffree Star X Morphe Collab Brush and the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow. And I use, when I can find it, I'll let you know. I use the shade Blonde in the Dip Brow. So once I pluck any stray hairs that need to be plucked, I go in with the Jeffree Star X Morphe dual-ended brush. And I'm going to go in using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in Blonde. And I start by applying that very softly to the edges. Then I move into the corner of my arch. And then flipping it vertically, I'm going to very, very gently wipe any excess product back into my brow. Now, I'm going to take the brush back into my dip brow. And this is where I'm really going to shape and define. So, really getting that curved arch, because that's where I'm lacking, is in the arch. Redefining the tops and the bottoms, and then again, any excess product being swept back into the brow. I'm going to comb through them and fill any sparse areas back in. Now, I do not set this because I'm going to do the other eyebrow first. Try to make them symmetrical as possible. Now, this is really hard because my brows are not twins. They are not sisters. They are not cousins. This brow is very sparse and this one has more shape. So my left eyebrow is the one I struggle with and the one that it is harder to define. And because I'm right-handed, so this doesn't work very well. The other reason I do my brows first is because I'm letting that moisturizer sink into my skin, but I'm also applying the brow product flat onto my skin. Whereas if I was to do my foundation, I would essentially be applying product on top of foundation, on top of concealer, on top of all that excess product, which is very hard to get smooth and have it stay on all day. I used to live in Florida, and if you did your brows on top of foundation, it would melt off your face because it's clinging to the foundation. It's not clinging to your skin. So always, always, always do it first. Now, I'm going to start and apply the brow gel to the ends and then do the inner part. To me, those look pretty even. The hardest part about doing my brows is that this one is higher than that one, and it's hard for me to make them the same length or direction. My brows are done. Moisturizer has set into my skin quite a bit. It's still just the tiniest bit tacky, but not that bad. So I'm going to go in with the Primed and Poreless Foundation Primer by Too Faced. And I am literally going to take a pea-sized amount. I'm talking like a baby pea on your finger, baby pea-sized amount. This is going to get rubbed in and applied right here on my chin, on my forehead. And then using whatever product is left is going to get blended into the skin. Not only is this going to help with my large pores, but it's going to give a base between the foundation and my skin, as well as longevity and making the skin have something to adhere to. At this point, I put hand sanitizer on. I don't have an immune system. I don't like germs. I just touched my face, so hand sanitizer. Even if I was doing my makeup in the car like I did this morning, I am still going to do eyeshadow and a wing. And if I'm not doing this at home, I might be rushing and doing it in the bathroom at work. I have no shame. If I want to look nice, I'm going to look nice. And I would always do it before work, never on the clock. I'm not that person. So I am going to start by applying an eye base. The reason I'm doing this next is because this is going to give time for that foundation primer to sink in. And we're also doing a very simple eye look. So really, we're not going to waste that much time. I applied a very simple, what's the word I'm looking for? Eye primer. I applied a very simple eye primer. Now, so we applied a very simple eye primer. Now I'm going in with the Makeup Geek Cosmetics Cool Toned Eyeshadow Palette. And I'm going to be using these 3 colors, which is Latte as Usual, Vanilla Bean, Dark Roasted, as well as Starry Eyed. So going into Latte as Usual, I am going to take a Sigma brush and I'm going to apply this in the crease. Very lightly, it's very subtle, nothing too dark, and it's just giving me my crease back. And this is the Sigma E25 that I'm using. Now, going in with another dome brush, I'm using Makeup Geek Cosmetics Soft Dome Brush. Yeah, soft dome brush. We're going to go into that Dark Roasted. We are just going to tap it in my outer corner and then start blending it in. And I have to lean my head back for this to really get in every crevice, or it's not going to look right. And you're going to have creasing and it's going to be just a hot mess. So I have to lean my eyelid back and make it flat. And then you're going to blend it in about halfway because we don't want this in the inner corner. We don't want it to be dark again. Going back in with that original Sigma E35. And not picking up any more product. This is the wrong brush. I'm just going to blend the edges and as well as blend it into the half of my crease area. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want there to be a harsh line between where Latte as Usual starts and ends. I want it to be a seamless transition. You still want the definition, but you don't want to be able to see in your crease where that stops and ends. Now, taking a flat brush, I'm going to go in with a Sigma E57. I'm going to take Whimsical on one half, and on the other half, I'm going to have that dark brown. We are going to apply Starry Eyed to the lid by packing that on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip back and forth between the two colors until they are blended nicely. Because again, you don't want to be able to see where those two colors stop and begin. So we just did Starry Eyed and blended the other color into it. Now I'm going to find a clean brush. And I'm going to, actually, I'm going to take Vanilla Bean and apply this directly under my brow bone. This is going to highlight under my brow, but then we are going to take a clean blending brush and blend the edges, especially where that dark roasted color is, so that you don't have a harsh line and everything just kind of mellows together. Essentially, I just created a crease as well as defined my eye while also brightening it. Now, I also usually apply eye primer under my eye. I am going to take whatever is left on that E27 that we used for a latte as usual and blend it underneath my eye. If you have to get a little bit more, it's okay. But really you want it smoked out and just kind of natural. At this point, we're done with eyeshadow. I'm going to apply a wing as well as curl my lashes and apply the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. Now, I'm only going to apply mascara on the top lashes for now. I will apply bottom lash mascara once I do my concealer, and that's just so I don't mess it up. At this point, the eyes are pretty much done. I am going to go in with this Wet n Wild Photo Focus Stick Foundation in the shade Sunkissed Beige, Beige Soleil. And I am going to apply this almost like a contour stick or a bronzer. And this is too warm toned to be a true contour, which is why I'm doing this first, because we are actually going to cover this up with our foundation and blend it out. Trust me, this is going to look a hot mess, but once it's done, it's going to look great. And the reason I'm doing this is because I saw Scott Barnes do it on Tati's channel and I wanted to try it. So taking a e.l.f. Selfie Ready foundation brush, this is kind of rounded, and I like it because I can take this little round edge and I am going to blend it. And how I'm blending it is not by rubbing back and forth. I am pressing down, picking up the brush, swiping down, picking up the brush, swiping down, or swiping up, depending on how low or high I applied it. And then I'm going to run this wherever I applied it. I'm just going to blend it out. When I get to my neck area, I'm going to blend down. When I get to my forehead, I'm going to blend inwards so you don't have that bronze helmet. And it's okay if it goes in the hairline a bit. So that is what I want, essentially. I am blind doing this. I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm doing it off of memory. But when I have like a little mirror, if I'm doing my makeup in the car, I use a little mirror like this. If I'm doing it at work, I have a makeup mirror that I have in my desk that I just bring in the bathroom. So that is it with this brush. You're done with the cream. Now, the star of the show is this Hourglass Vanish Stick, and I'm using the shade Alabaster. I had to order this 3 times because it kept coming melted. This is the only one that made it through, slightly. So I am going to take this and I'm going to apply it where I would highlight mostly, underneath, Same thing on both sides, almost like I'm highlighting. One down my problem area, on my chin, down my nose, on my forehead, down the sides of my forehead. 1, 2, 3, on my neck, and I will start there. I have tried using this as minimal as possible, and when I use it minimally, it gives me a hot mess look that looks dry and cakey and gross AF. So we're not gonna do that. I'm taking a Kat Von D small stippling brush. I got this at TJ Maxx. I did not pay full price for it. And similar to how I did the contour, I am not going to go back and forth. I am picking up the brush and stippling it and swiping down because I want to move that cream product. And this might take a while because you want to carefully bring it around the eyebrow on both sides, as well as blending it up on the forehead. And I have to use more pressure on my forehead to really move this product because it's a stick and it doesn't want to blend. I try to go softer where I applied that contour on my cheeks because I still want it to poke through a little bit. And then I'm going to do my ears. You can't forget your ears. And blend down my neck. Essentially, I want to darken my neckline without making myself look orange. This foundation is very medium to full coverage. So I want to make sure I get every part of my body or face so I match and blend it down my neck. And that is done with this. Now, going in with a beauty blender that is damp, I am gently going to press everywhere I applied that foundation so that I don't have any harsh streaks. And especially where my pores are and around my eyebrows is where this product will tend to cake up. And that's what the pointy side is great for. If I missed a spot, like in front of my eyebrows, for instance, that point will get it. And I don't want to overly blend. Because I don't want to take away the product, I just want to blend any lines, which this foundation does give me lines. Now, I am going to take the tiniest dot of this Urban Decay Naked Skin Color Correcting Fluid in Peach. And I am going to put a dot and a dot. And then taking my ring finger, I am going to blend this out. Really focusing it in the inner corner because that's where my blueness is. And I'm taking it in that little crevice by my inner corner because that dark circle goes all the way around my eyeball. Then blending whatever is left on my finger out so that I'm not left with harshness. And just that pink acts almost like concealer. It really does make a huge, huge, huge difference. Now, taking the Jeffree Star Magic Star Concealer in C5. One dot in the inner corner. One dot in the inner corner, a tiny dot in the outer corner, a tiny dot in the outer corner. Now, if this is not enough coverage for you, you could do another tiny dot in the inner corner. Now, this is where it differs. You can use your fingers, which I always get foundation in my fingers if I use my fingers, or you can use a beauty blender. For this, I will do both, probably. So I'm going to start by tapping this out on my inner corner. This is where you get crow's nests when you get older. And then taking whatever is left, I'm going to drag it in. Taking the inner one, I'm going to blend it up first towards my inner corner to get rid of that darkness, then blend it out. And I'm tapping. You can see right there, I messed up my foundation or my eyeshadow. And then I'm going to connect the two. And I am just blending this into the skin. And you can repeat that with your finger until it's blended out. Or you could do what I do and take a beauty blender and just go over it. I really want to take this point and press it up to where that eyeliner is to make it as crisp as possible. And then I'm going to use the tip to blend this into my foundation so that you're not having a super harsh, here's my foundation, here's my concealer moment. On this side, I will show you using just the beauty blender, same technique, blending it where it is, blending it inwards. Blending where it is, bringing it outwards and then inwards. Making sure to get that inner corner. And again, sliding it to get that wing nice and tight and sharp. But you don't want to bring this in too high. I have creases and they will get stuck. And I don't want to mess up that lower line eyeshadow I did. So we are staying below the eyeshadow and blending it in. So that's done. Now, I can see this looks a little white. Don't worry, we're gonna fix it. Now, taking a powder brush, this is the Jeffree Star Morphe one. I am going to take the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Dim Light. I'm going to scrunch this together because it's a mini size and kind of wiggle it in there and really get the powder on the brush. And I'm going to very softly press this into my skin, starting with the eye and then in my problem areas. And yes, those are my driest spots, but that is where my foundation will come off like nobody's business. And this is where the routine changes, because normally I would do what everybody else on YouTube does and put some of that Laura Mercier powder on and just slap it everywhere. And what people forget is that everybody's skin tone, skin type, needs are different. So once I press it in, I'm gonna kind of swirl it around. I don't want too much powder stuck on my face. I don't want too much powder caked under my eyes, but I want a nice thin setting of it so that nothing is moving. Now, another way I have been doing this is taking a Real Techniques pointed foundation brush, which is very tiny, wiggling it in there and brushing it in that inner part where I put my concealer. And then I could take that pointed brush as well and swipe it away, any excess. Whatever is going to get that powder to set my concealer. I cannot go without setting my concealer or it moves. And if I don't set my foundation, it will get on my phone, at work, my cell phone. it's a hot mess. So I like this because it brings light back to my face and it just gives you this overwhelming glow. Now, at this point, I'm gonna do bottom mascara. And this is one of those things that I never do bottom mascara because I don't have any lashes. And you can see I have gaps. But something about this just opens up my eyes and it makes me feel like girly and beautiful. So I'm gonna do it. Now, this is where I take an angled brush and I contour. And how I've been doing this is I go into the second shade in this NYX contour palette, tap off the excess. With the angle pointed out, I am going to swipe. And again on this side, angle pointed out towards my cheek. Then I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to blend down, pick it up, blend down, pick it up, blend down. And that's because I don't want a harsh line, but you don't want this flipped around. And if you do it like that, that's how you get patchiness. If you're just going back and forth, you're gonna get patchiness. Now I'm going to repeat that where I applied that contour shade. Focusing on my jawline right here. The sides of my face, as well as if I don't have a hairband on, I pull my hair back. Very softly, I'm going to blend this where that contour shade was. Then from there, I'm gonna make my 3. Which, I don't know from a professional makeup point if that does absolutely anything. But for me, it just blends everything kind of seamlessly. So I'm not going for a strong highlight, I'm going for a soft one. I want my cheeks in just a little bit and I don't want it to look like I have a shit ton of shit on my face. Now, you can use a tiny brush for this, or I use my pinky finger and I go into that white highlight and I am going to tap this in my inner corner very carefully. And that is just gonna brighten up my eye. And then you are done with this palette. Now, the next thing is Milani's Baked Powder Blush in Luminoso. Taking a powder brush, I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm going to place it and blend backwards. And that's because I want the concentration kind of higher up on my apple of my cheek right here. But I don't want to bring it too far in because I have hyperpigmentation. This is where blush placement tends to sit better on my face and tends to suit me better. And especially since I've gained weight and I am bigger than I used to be. My cheeks used to be smaller. I used to be very fit and then I get sick. So for me, I'm going to place it and blend it backwards so that I'm still having this color here, but I want you to be able to see that color when I turn my cheek, but I don't want it to be overwhelming. Now at this point, you can go in with more, or I like to take what I had and I press that any remaining powder over my cheeks. And if I feel like I use too much, I will blend around the edges of where I applied that blush to kind of tone it down and create that seamless effect. Now the last step, I do this either, I don't know, I can do it two ways. The most compliments I get is when I use ColourPop's Flexitarian. And I do the same thing. I will take some on my pinky, apply it to the inner corner of my eyelid. And then on my ring finger, I do a swirl about 3 times. And then where I turn my head, wherever the light catches my face, so for me, it's right there. I'm going to apply this towards the outer corner of my eye and then blend it up almost like a C. I don't want to bring it too far in. About half of my brow where my arch is. I'm not going to bring it in any further than where my arch is. And then I'm going to blend this down because when the light hits my face, it tends to move. It's not just in this one area. And I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. I'm going to blend it on that very high point of my cheek and blend it up in a C. And then blend it down softly with whatever remaining product is on my finger. Then taking the tip of my ring finger and then using my middle finger to blur it out, I'm going to highlight my face, but very subtly. I don't want this to be boom in your face. So above the eyebrows and blend it out, right there on my nose and the very, very, very tip of my nose. I do not contour my nose. It will look like a hot mess. I've tried every technique. I do not like my nose contoured because it just brings emphasis to my nose and my nose is crooked. The other way I've done this look is using a Glue Gold in the Jeffree Star Peppermint Frost palette. And that will also give me this kind of blinding yet natural glow. And then the last step, as far as the face goes, I will take the NYX Dewy Finish Long Lasting Setting Spray, shake it up, close my eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that every inch of my face is covered with setting spray. I'm going to dry it off, and then when it gets almost dry, I'm going to take my beauty blender and press that into the skin. Not too much because I don't want to take it away. And that is it. That's how I do my Flawless makeup base. Everything's in my little Jeffree Star travel bag. If I'm running late for work, I will throw that in my car, do it in 5 or 10 minutes. And that's how I do my makeup. Now, the lip color can vary. Today I wore Mannequin and did this look. Yesterday I used a Urban Decay Vice. And then the very first day I did this look, I actually did this about 3 times. I used the ColourPop Designer Collection Lip Gloss in Bobbity. And this just adds like a peachy sheen to my lips because it's a peach lip gloss. The lip color, I will change depending on what look I'm wearing. So the very first day I did this, I was wearing more peachy tones, so this went well together. However, today, for instance, I wore a yellow shirt and it was not like the best color for me. So I wore a nude-ish pink lipstick, which is Mannequin, and it's like my lips, but better. This kind of tones down my lips, and then the Vice lipstick I had also was like my lips, but better. So this is my Flawless base technique. I'm not sure how I feel about contouring my neck yet because I've gained weight and I have this little bubble. But for now, that is the best way I've found to slender out my face without looking like I have heavy contour on my face, without looking like I did an Instagram makeup look, without looking like a hot mess. And if I'm going to work, I may not necessarily do both highlights. I would only do one, but for the sake of this video, I did both. But I would only normally do one or the other. I would not do both because I don't want it bright and intense. But this look just opens up my eyes. The wing kind of curves my eyes up. The bronzer and the contour kind of makes me look alive more. And the thing is that I blend it into the hairline, which you can see my sparseness, my hair falls out. So right here, you can see the blondness, but I don't wear my hair up that often. I usually wear my hair down with a side part to work. And for me, just having my hair down to kind of blend into that contour looks the best. And then I can straighten or curl my hair as needed, and I don't look like so much of a hot mess. And I look flawless. I mean, I started doing this because I wanted to use up that foundation stick, and that's what started it. Was, hey, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 foundations, including that Hourglass one. 10 foundations in my drawer. And I'm like, hey, I really need to start using some of these products up. The oldest foundation I have is this Wet n Wild one. The next one would be that Hourglass one, and then my OG Naked Skin, which this one I'm going to keep for as long as I can. So I was like, okay, I need to use up this Hourglass foundation. And the Primed and Poreless is my favorite primer, and for the Hourglass one, it kind of helps hide my pores. The other thing I will do occasionally is apply the Hourglass Mineral Veil. I will apply a tiny bit of this and do it around my face, not where my pores are, to give more luminosity. But that Glam Glow Moisturizer also does that for me. So this has been my go-to makeup base and eye makeup for about a week now. And this look, even just my eyes, looks flawless. So I did just Sailor on my eyes today by ColourPop with mascara. And that looked cute. It was pretty. But these eyes with the wing is everything. I look kind of naked, and I feel kind of naked with no winged eyeliner on. And I think less powder is more, especially in these very, very dry winter months. This is what is saving my skin. And then having some kind of natural glow highlighter without it being too intense, like a Supreme Frost. Just flawless, natural, beautiful. And what made me want to do a video on this look is because there's someone in my life that does not give compliments very often. I'm just gonna say that. And this particular person told me that my makeup looked flawless and that I looked beautiful that day. So that's really what prompted this video, was that the person who I least expected to compliment me on anything in this world gave me a compliment. And I said, damn, I must look really good for that person to give me a compliment. So when I got home that day, sure enough, I went out drinking. It was a Friday night. And this stayed on all night, looked flawless. And when I turn my cheek, I get a subtle glow. I don't look overly contoured. You can barely even tell that I'm wearing blush. But when I had just foundation on, you can see I'm very white. I need that color in my face brought back. And to me, that's essentially what makeup is. You're taking away the negativity in your face and you're repainting it and accentuating what is good about your face and what is bad about your face. So for me, this technique is about that high coverage, medium foundation, getting rid of my hyperpigmentation. But then I'm gonna bring color and life back to my face with the bronzer and the blush, some kind of lip to make myself not look dead. These bright eyes, especially that shimmery, starry-eyed shade, to wake my eyes up. The wing to brighten and awaken my eyes, the inner corner to brighten and awaken my eyes, the brows to frame my face. And that's all makeup is. Especially with my dark frames, this look looks amazing. It makes me feel confident. And when I go to work, I feel like I can bat my eyelashes, I can look flawless, I can do the hair flip, and I look and feel great. And that's really what makeup is about. So with that long extra and explanation, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know. if you would so kindly, please subscribe to my channel. It helps you get notified when I make future videos, as well as it helps me gain traction and start doing this more often because more people are watching me. Sincerely, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribed or left a comment. And I am really curious to see and hear, what are your favorite tips / techniques / products for a flawless base, or even just flawless eyes? What's your go-to eye look? What's your go-to face look? Do you do your makeup differently going to work than you do every day? I'd love to hear it. Personally, this look is great for work because I work in an office and an extremely professional environment. So a bright neon pink eye look would probably not fly. So yeah, this is definitely a work look for me, and it is absolutely gorgeous.